Hey guys, welcome back to the Photo Business Success Podcast. I'm your host, Morgan, and I'm here with my co host, Megan. Today, we're going to talk about how to prep for off season. I know we are kind of sneaking up on it. We're recording this in October, but this is coming out in November. So if you're a wedding photographer, you're probably like starting to hit slow season and you're about ready to celebrate. And if you're a family photographer, you're finishing up soon, hopefully. I don't know what week this comes out, but so anyways, we're going to talk about that today. The first thing I wanted to talk about was giving yourself permission to have. We have just gone through the craziest times in our business. You know, we are all, although we did just release an episode about thriving during busy season. So I hope you guys have listened to that. But we are, getting through and doing the best we can. And I've kind of probably almost reached burnout if you didn't reach burnout anyway. And so giving yourself permission to have that downtime is really, really important. But we want to set like a few parameters around that because we don't want you to spend your entire just, chilling on the couch with, a bag of chips and, binging whatever show you want to watch. We want to set parameters around that so you don't spend your entire time doing that. Because I know that can be a tendency for some, and
I've done it. I've done it.
I haven't, but I know that that's a rare one. I think almost everybody has done it. I've definitely done it for some time, just not the entire off season.
Yeah, I
So,
guess I would say, yeah, not the entire time. I'm too ambitious
right.
for that. But yeah, it's relatable. And so by the way, like if that is you, if that has been you, no shame at all.
No.
But I think one of the things that helped me, I started doing this thing. We could have actually maybe mentioned this in our last episode. It's sort of like a transition thing, but I started doing for myself editing retreats. When I finished up all like my last session, because I would do weddings and a ton of sessions, I would take myself on a little editing retreat. And part of this was that I was not editing my weddings, and I had an editor who was doing most of my family sessions, but there's no way that she could do 200 family sessions in the month of November. So I pretty much took that upon myself. She got to finish weddings in October and maybe do some family sessions, but I would take myself on these nice little, 3 to 5 day
Yeah.
little, I guess, like vacations. And like, was I still editing? Yeah, but I would take myself to like nice coffee shops. I would take myself to brunch. I would treat that transition like it was a nice little getaway. Still a work trip, but a getaway. And, for me, I was in California at the time. So I would go to like Vegas or Scottsdale or Santa Barbara or, places that were easy for me to drive to.
Yeah.
Also, I found great deals because although those are all places that where there is tourism all year round, it's off season. November is off season for everyone.
Everybody.
Beginning
Yeah.
of December, off season for everyone. So, if I were doing it again today, here in Nashville, I would probably pick places that are short flights away and, just pack up my computer and do,
Yeah.
Florida, maybe not Florida right now because of the hurricane, but I would find places that would be really pleasant so that I would want to spend time outside, places that have accommodations for tourists so
Yep.
that, there are cute coffee shops and a lot of really like nice aesthetic to feed my little photographer soul, which has been so burnt out from having to create,
Yep.
create, create, create. I'm looking for ways to get that input.
Absolutely. And then like going back to like allowing yourself to have those like downtimes after your editing retreat, because the editing retreat is, I think, like a great plan and I would love to do that. I think giving yourself a specific amount of time to veg out on the couch is really important, whether that's like 2 days, a week. I wouldn't do longer than a week because
Amen.
you still have to run a business
Yeah.
and you still have to pay the bills.
Yeah.
So make sure that you are setting exact parameters around this so you know what to expect and you know what everything looks like. And whether that is like maybe you're like, I'm only going to answer emails this week and then I'm going to go sit on the couch and I'm going to go on a hike and I'm going to go do these things for myself to revitalize myself after this hard season, and not hard but like mentally taxing season, and giving yourself a chance to really like build yourself back up and be there to serve your clients again. So that's the first thing for
I also
prepping.
think, sorry, like just to add to that,
Yep.
this is a great opportunity to connect with your other photographer friends and to make sure that like you're all making healthy plans together. So,
Yes.
our next episode, or maybe, yeah, I think it'll be our next episode, is going to be how to act, like what to actually do with off season.
Mhm.
But like in the prepping, make sure that you're making plans with other local photographers or even non-local. Y'all can go travel together or whatever,
Mhm.
because it helps to decompress when you have someone who knows what you're going through. You don't
Absolutely.
have to like talk about it. And I kind of recommend that you don't fall into the trap of, you know, talking about all the things that have gone wrong in weddings, and like all of your nightmare clients, and like that crazy, mother of the bride, whatever that might look like. Don't fall into the trap of that, because then you're just perpetuating a negative energy cycle for yourself. But having someone who knows what, like, that stress that your body just went through, that your mind just went through, that your emotions just went through,
Yeah.
who also needs the same things that you do, they maybe are gonna, like, maybe it's that you're gonna be gym buddies. Maybe it's going to be that you're going to hold each other accountable for making real food every day. Maybe it's
Yep.
going to be, like Morgan mentioned, going on a hike. Whatever that looks like, you can actually get away, but make plans with other people who need that same, who need to recover in the same ways that you do.
Absolutely. And that doesn't mean you don't talk about your businesses and like what you guys have gone through. It means not talking about it in a negative light, because we all know that wedding season was hard, and busy season was hard. But like, if you're going to talk about it, talk about the good things. Talk about the funny things that happened. I mean, we all have crazy wedding stories that we can share, and it makes us all like it, laugh, because we need somebody else who's like been in the same situation. Like, oh my gosh, like, am I the only one who had to like sew a groom's pants back together this year? Or like, did anybody else have like a fire happen? Because I've definitely had conversations like this with other friends at weddings, or in off season. So that is totally fine to keep talk about your business and what you went through. Just don't talk about it in a negative light, because we don't want to perpetuate the negative feelings. The next thing we want to talk about in for off season is, while you are in the thick of it, of busy season, and really like throughout the year, be writing down the things maybe didn't go so right, or things that need improvements, so that way during off season you can tackle those. Whether it's making sure like your email marketing wasn't set up for busy season, or you didn't have a good way to write blogs and didn't have a good schedule for that, whatever it may be, make sure you're writing these things down as they happen, so you don't have to think about during off season, what was that? Like, I know I had something I had to take care of, but now I don't remember what it is. Have this running list. It doesn't have to be like right in front of you to intimidate you. You can like put this in a notebook, put it off to the side, and then during off season, this is what we're tackling. But it's there so you have it. Actually, I
Mhm.
recommend don't having it out in front of you, so that way you don't have the anxiety around like all of the things you have to do. I would put it in a notebook, put it off to the side, and get back to it when you are done with busy season. and then you pull it out and you make a plan.
Yeah. And I would say, like, just to reinforce this, the time that you don't want to be thinking about it is you're out of busy season, you're through the holidays, you had your weeks of just, binging TV and eating junk food. And now you're in a place where you're like, okay, like I have the energy to do this. I have the energy to start making improvements, but what should I do? Like you don't
Where do
want
we
to find
start?
yourself there. You want to be proactive. And so, yeah, don't have that list in front of you, but have the list. Have the list.
Yeah, and then I would recommend that like during your first off week or like the first few days when you're out of busy season, take time to plan how you're going to do those things. Set like if you need to print a calendar, it may be, sit
Mhm.
down and like do okay, like these 2 days I'm going to be working on our, workflow. These 2 days I'm working on our email marketing. And obviously like things can come up along the way, and just like a reminder, you should always be taking calls and consultations and doing revenue generating activity. Very, very important, especially during off season, to make these improvements because we're not actively shooting. We have that extra time. So put it on your calendar what you're going to do at that time. So that way there's no hesitation as to what is going to be happening next. That way you can get everything planned and you're ready to go.
Yep.
Perfect. Anything else you want to talk about today with?
No, I think it's a pretty simple, straightforward episode. It doesn't require that much work, but you really set yourself up for success when you do it. So, yeah, couldn't recommend that anymore that you do it. It is so it's one of those things that it's easy to do and it's easy not to do, but doing it will absolutely set you up for a better year
Yep,
like next season. Like you want 2025 to be your best year ever, spend, 3 days just planning, just sit down, brain dump everything that you wish had gone better this year or everything
absolutely.
that you wish you had, because even if you just pick 3 of those things to fix, you're going to have a better year and it will make a difference. If you decide, okay, I'm going to work on, tracking my leads, that's going to be the thing that you do. Well, guess what? Now you're set up to follow up with them better. And we had a
Mm-hmm.
whole episode where we talked about, well, not a whole, but a big episode where we talked about following up to prevent ghosting. It's like you could double the amount of bookings that you have just by changing your follow-up system. So, yeah, go do the things that are going to, or decide on the things that will move the needle the most for you. You don't have to do it all. We are not champions of like do the most. That's not what
No,
we're about. We are about doing what matters.
absolutely. And sitting down and evaluating what needs to change in your business is really important. And putting those tools in place to make it happen, whether that means you need to do some education courses to help you learn certain things, or you know what you already need to do, you just have to implement it. Figuring that out is very important. So,
Mhm.
on our next episode, we're going to talk about things to be doing during off season. We will dive into that more, all of the things that we recommend doing. And then if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, rate, review, subscribe. It really, really helps us. We will be putting the Wedding Multiplier Toolkit in the show notes, which is a really good thing to implement during off season because it will definitely help you boost your amount of weddings if you're wanting to book more. And then also our Facebook group to surround yourself with like minded individuals and who are in the wedding industry. So I think that's all, right, Megan?
Thanks guys. See you next time.
Okay, bye.
I clicked